everyone, welcome back to Spinning Iris. It is day 27 of Banned Book Month, which means it is time for chapter 27 of Candide by Voltaire. In the last chapter, Candide made the acquaintance of 6 former kings, but more importantly, he found Cacambo, and now he's on his way to Constantinople and to Cunegonde. Let's find out what happens on the voyage. Are you ready? Let's go! Chapter 27. Candides Voyage to Constantinople. The faithful Cacambo had already spoken to the Turkish captain who was going to take Sultan Ahmed back to Constantinople, and obtained his permission for Candide and Martin to come aboard his ship. They both embarked after prostrating themselves before his miserable highness. On the way to the ship, Candide said to Martin, "We've just had supper with 6 kings, and I even gave charity to one of them. There may be many other princes who are still more unfortunate. As for me, I've lost nothing but 100 sheep, and I'm hurrying to Konogond's arms. Once again, my dear Martin, Pangloss was right. Everything is for the best." "I hope so," said Martin. "But what an unlikely adventure we've just had in Venice," said Candide. "No one ever saw or heard of 6 dethroned kings having supper together at an inn." "That's no more extraordinary than most of the things that have happened to us," said Martin. "It's quite common for kings to be dethroned, and as for the honor we've had of eating supper with them, it's a trifle that doesn't deserve our attention." As soon as Candide was on board the ship, he threw his arms round his former valet, his friend Cacambo. "And what is Cunegonde doing now?" he asked him. "Is she still a prodigy of beauty? Does she still love me? Is she in good health? Have you bought her a palace in Constantinople?" "My dear master," replied Cacambo, "Cunegonde is now washing dishes on the shore of the Sea of Marmora, for a prince who has very few dishes. She's a slave in the house of a former sovereign named Ragotsky, who's taken refuge in Turkey, and is living on a small allowance given to him by the Grand Turk. But what's even sadder is that she's lost her beauty and become horribly ugly." "Ah, whether she's beautiful or ugly, I'm an honorable man," said Candide, "and my duty is to love her forever. But how can she have been reduced to such a state with the 5 or 6 million you brought her?" "First of all," said Cacambo, "I had to give 2 million to Señor Don Fernando de Ibarra y Figueroa y Mascarenas y Lampourdos y Souza, governor of Buenos Aires, for his permission to take Lady Cunegonde away. Then a pirate expertly robbed us of all the rest and took us to Matapan, Melos, Icaria, Samos, Patras, the Dardanelles, Marmora, and Scutari. Cunegonde and the old woman are working in the house of the prince I told you about, and I'm the dethroned sultan's slave." "What a terrible series of calamities," said Candide. "But after all, I still have a few diamonds, so I'll easily deliver Cunegonde. It's a pity she's become so ugly." He then turned to Martin and said, "Which of us do you think is the most unfortunate? Emperor Ahmed, Emperor Ivan, King Charles Edward, or I?" "I have no idea," said Martin. "I'd have to be inside your hearts to know." "Ah," said Candide, "if Pangloss were here he'd know and tell us." "I don't know what scales your Pangloss would use to weigh the misfortunes of men and judge their sorrows," said Martin. "All I presume is that there are millions of men in this world who are 100 times more unfortunate than King Charles Edward, Emperor Ivan, and Sultan Ahmed." "That may well be true," said Candide. A few days later they reached the Bosporus. Candide began by buying Cacambo's freedom at a very high price. Then he and his companions boarded a galley without delay, and set off for the shore of the Sea of Marmora to find Cunegonde, however ugly she might be. Among the galley slaves there were 2 who rowed very badly, and the Levantine captain occasionally gave them a few lashes on their bare shoulders. Candide naturally looked at them more attentively than the others, and went over to them with pity. Certain features of their disfigured faces seemed to bear a slight resemblance to those of Pangloss and that unfortunate Jesuit, that Baron, Lady Cunegonde's brother. This idea troubled Candide and saddened him. He looked at them still more attentively. "Really," he said to Cacambo, "if I hadn't seen Dr. Pangloss hanged, and if I hadn't had the misfortune to kill the Baron, I'd think they were these 2 men rowing in this galley." On hearing the names of Pangloss and the Baron, the 2 galley slaves uttered a loud cry, sat still on their benches, and dropped their oars. The Levantine captain rushed up to them, and the lashes rained down more heavily than ever. "Stop, sir, stop!" cried Candide. "I'll give you as much money as you want." "What, it's Candide!" said one of the galley slaves. "What, it's Candide!" said the other. "Is this a dream?" said Candide. "Am I awake? Am I really in this galley? Is this the Baron I killed? Is this the Dr. Pangloss I saw hanged?" "Yes, it is," they replied. "Tell me, Levantine captain," said Candide, "how much money do you want for the ransom of Lord Thunderten Tronckh, one of the most eminent barons of the empire, and of Dr. Pangloss, the most profound metaphysician in Germany?" "Dog of a Christian," replied the Levantine captain, "since these two dogs of Christian galley slaves are barons and metaphysicians, which is no doubt a high rank in their country, you'll have to give me 50,000 sequins for them." "You'll have it, sir. Take me back to Constantinople with the speed of lightning, and you'll be paid on the spot. But no, take me to Lady Cunegonde." After hearing Candide's first offer, however, the Levantine captain had already turned his ship toward the city, and was making his slaves row it faster than a bird cleaves the air. Candide embraced the Baron and Pangloss again and again. "How is it that I didn't kill you, my dear Baron?" he asked. "And you, my dear Pangloss, how is it that you're still alive after being hanged? And why are you both on a Turkish galley?" "Is it true that my dear sister is in this country?" asked the Baron. "Yes," replied Cacambo. "I've found my dear Candide again," cried Pangloss. Candide introduced them to Martin and Cacambo. They all embraced each other and began talking simultaneously. The galley was flying. It was already at the harbour. A Jew was summoned, and Candide sold him a diamond worth 100,000 sequins for 50,000. The Jew swore by Abraham that he could not give more. Candide immediately paid the ransom of Pangloss and the Baron. Pangloss threw himself at his liberator's feet and bathed them with his tears. The Baron thanked him with a nod and promised to pay him back the money at the first opportunity. "But is it possible that my sister is in Turkey?" he asked. "Nothing is more possible," replied Cacambo, "since she's now washing dishes for a prince of Transylvania." 2 other Jews were then summoned. Candide sold more diamonds, and they all set out on another galley to deliver Konogond. That is the end of chapter 27. Well, we're moving at breakneck speed now towards the end. I'm sure we'll hear all about what happened to the Baron and Pangloss in the next chapter. I hope you'll join me then. Take care. Bye-bye.